is a vulnerable thing, a whim of circumstance. At any time, the smallest flap of a butterfly's wings may set catastrophe in motion. Haran, an entire city wiped from the map. Those left behind there did not stand a chance. The world's greatest minds came together and found a vaccine against the Haran virus. Finally, mankind had prevailed against the disease. But people always want more. Despite a promise to shutter its labs, the GRE continued its research in secrecy for military purposes. It didn't take long for a variant of THV to escape into the world once more. The fall happened more rapidly than anyone could have predicted. The few who survived now live in small enclaves, the only means of contact between distant human settlements are lone individuals, brave or desperate enough to travel on their own across dangerous wastelands. They are known as pilgrims. Somewhere on the map, one city is still standing. A city isolated from the outside world. A city with special rules. Now, it's the last bastion of humanity. A chance for us to learn from history. And for once, make the right choices. Because every choice you make here shapes the future. Irreversibly.
Yeah, it's finally here, Dying Light 2. What you just saw was the intro that plays when you start the game. It gave me some goosebumps. So after 7 years, Techland released Dying Light 2. A long-awaited game that continues the world of Dying Light with bandits and of course zombies. It's available on console and PC. There's quite a bit of elements that has changed in Dying Light 2. Like the combat system, the choices, the inventory system, more character upgrades and well, the whole in-game world. With all these changes you might think you require a decent PC, but according to the official system requirements, it's not that bad. I think the requirements are also a bit exaggerating, and you'll know why later when you see the graphs. I played the game for a few hours already and there are some noticeable changes that aren't there anymore like in the first game. The two most noticeable are ragdolls and weapon repairing. The ragdolls from the zombies are more limited than from the first game. You could push, for example, a zombie into spikes and it would kill the zombie and make a sound effect from the spikes. But in Dying Light 2 that doesn't happen. It does kill the zombie, but now sound effects, and the zombie isn't stuck on the spikes. It's on the ground instead. About the weapon repairing, well, there are no guns in this game so far. I'm not sure if it's in the future possible when you progress further, but it seems there are no guns overall in Dying Light 2. Everything has to happen with melee weapons, which you can't repair even. Weapons break and they disappear from your hands and inventory and that's it. I'm not sure yet if it's possible when you progress further in the story, but I don't think so. Either way, not having the possibility to repair your melee weapons does make it more challenging in my opinion. One other and new change I do want to talk about more is the choices. The game offers you a choice when doing missions or in a conversation, but it doesn't look like you mostly have a choice. Weird! I remember in videos and live streams from Techland before release, they talked about quote unquote choice matters, but lol, most of the time they give you 2 or 3 choices and it forces you to pick an individual choice. So, in my eyes, it's not. I don't think choices really matter. Anyway, overall, I really like Dying Light 2. It's a worthy successor to the first game and I'm absolutely enjoying it. It will only get better with updates. The parkour and combat system are also one of my favorite things. The awesome parkour is already known since Dying Light 1, but now the combat is too. You can block, stagger, stun enemies and use that to your advantage. The game textures and reflections, with or without ray tracing, and so on are very good looking. Techland also said there will be a 5-year update path, so that sounds very promising. Now enjoy some more gameplay or you can skip to the part you came for, the benchmarks.
Have this, motherfucker! You like that? I got something for you. Got you now. This should be fun. Over here, motherfucker! Kill him! Take some of this! Shove it up your ass! Got you! Can you? Hey there, jackass! I've got you now, asshole! Can you hack it? Hold still! You're done. Look alive! Can you take Look alive! Hold still! Let me go for you, You're done. Watch this, motherfucker! Yeah. Thanks. I really didn't want to die like that. Ready for this? This is here. Suck up. Try this on. Dodge this, asshole. Gotcha, you piece of shit. Take here. Surprise, asshole. Suck on this. Show me this ass. How you like me now, motherfucker? Gotcha. You like me now, asshole? Get
Alright, now before showing the benchmarks, I'm gonna share how I benchmark the game. Several games have a built-in benchmark tool. Dying Light 2 does not. So this means I had to figure out my own path or way to benchmark it as accurate as possible. The benchmark I decided to do was a walk through the bazaar. When you finish the first several missions and you unlock the open world, you arrive in this place. I start by the entrance and walk through. I look up to the roof and simply check out the little sections in the bazaar. And then by the end, right here, I look up again to the beautiful roof and windows, and then I just go outside.
Central loop since PK's restricted access.
I open the door, immediately look to the left, and go to the open world through this door. I run towards the truck and go right, and then I simply kill the first two zombies I see with my fists.
Got me so stressed out.
Every time it's these two zombies that they respawn. To end the benchmark, I run a bit further across these vehicles and then I stop on this truck. And this is how the settings menu looks like for your video settings. It's just it's straightforward. You have a description with every setting and also advanced video settings. By pressing F, then you get this menu and then you can select more options. Now my test system I used is just my normal gaming system. I game and work on this system every day. It has a Ryzen 5 2600 on a B450M Pro 4 and it's using 16 GB of DDR4 RAM with latency of 14 and 3200 MHz. There are 3 GPUs I've tested. The XFX RX 488 GB, the reference 6700 XT and the Founders Edition of the 3070. every GPU had the latest drivers with support for Dying Light 2. So for AMD that was 22.2.1 and for Nvidia that was 511.65. This slide is just a piece of information about what I tested, so which resolution, all 3 GPUs and every quality setting mostly. And then for ultra-wide I also tested FSR, DLSS and ray tracing. The most surprised thing is that the RX 480 does support FSR, so I was like, what? So I tested that also, and you'll be surprised it's actually playable on ultra-wide with the RX 480. But yeah, that's that. And then, yeah, if you do the math, I did the run 29 times, but each run was done twice. And then the result in the graphs is the average of those 2 runs. Okay, at 1080p there has to be set something about the 3070 and a 67XD, because as you can see the average FPS of the 67XD across all the quality settings are the same. It's around the same 76-75 FPS, and even the minimum FPS is around 60, and it doesn't decrease or increase if you put the quality lower. So what I'm feeling is that I'm getting bottlenecked somewhere, and it could be something at the power limit. I mean, these GPUs aren't marketed for 1080p, but yeah, there has to be something going on, because with the RX 480 you can clearly see the FPS increasing if you put it lower, the quality, which is normal. Here are some screenshots with the differences between upscaling settings. I'm gonna let you guys decide if there's any difference between the upscaling settings, but for me I cannot see anything different except for going from no upscaling to any upscaling, because that's where the lighting gets brighter. Okay, so that was it. this is the end. I showed every benchmark, all the data I could do. I thank you all for watching, and I see you in the next benchmark video, which will be Shadow Warrior 3, because that's coming out the 1st of March, and I'm planning to do the same with Dying Light 2. So yeah, see you later.